Before you go straight down to the comments to leave something mean, please just hear me out. Just listen. Maybe just take a breath and wait and let me explain myself for the title. Please and thank you. I've already filmed this video once, but I didn't have any notes or a script or anything. I'd had a different script for a different video, but I really wanted to talk about this. And when I made the video, my scats were my scats. Did I mention I'm dyslexic? My thoughts were scattered and just not really honed in or cohesive, understandable. So I did write down some notes and made it so I can speak in a way that I can be better understood. But hey guys, my name is Mrs. Beetlejuice. Welcome back to the shit show that is my YouTube channel. Sometimes when a topic just hits me and it really just grabs me and like just right in the gut, I have to talk about it. And I did rant about this on my live stream a couple days ago. I really went all out. We even had to have a dance party for a little bit because I was pretty fired up. So I wanted to make this video and really hone in my thoughts. And again, I just ask, hear me out and give me just maybe a few minutes before you leave that comment. First off, as a white person, I can't speak for the lived experiences of people of color. That's a fact. But what I can speak to is other white people and our white privilege, because it's not on people of color or marginalized communities or minorities to educate us about our white privilege. It's on us. It's our job. When we ignore that responsibility, when we deny that privilege exists, we are actually perpetuating racism even further every single day. Pretending not to see something does not make it disappear. There's always that unspokenness about it when we don't acknowledge it, and we just, as long as it's not happening around me, that silence is complicity. Full stop. I also want to clear up one of the biggest misconceptions about white privilege. White privilege does not mean that you've had an easy life because you're white. White privilege does not mean that you had an easy life because you're white. White privilege is an everyday existence. There are many different facets to it, but the bare minimum of it is white privilege is in your everyday existence. It doesn't mean that you didn't work hard. It doesn't mean that you had to grab yourself by the bootstraps and pull them up and work your butt off to get where you are. It doesn't mean that. White privilege is walking into a store and not being followed or profiled. It's being pulled over and being just annoyed rather than terrified for your life. It's getting angry at injustices without being the target of it. It's being able to go outside and play and not fear for your life. It's your mother allowing you to go outside and play when you're a child and not fearing for your life. That's what white privilege is. And I feel like not a lot of people understand that. And that's where other white people need to come in and explain that and educate, because it's quite literally our jobs. When we reject that, when we say things like, not all white people, I didn't own slaves, I have a black friend, you completely miss the point. The conversation isn't about guilt. It's about awareness. And awareness is what makes empathy possible. I'm a very empathetic and sensitive person. And so that's why I am very open to these conversations without hate, without getting angry or feeling the need to feel vindicated. I just want to educate people and listen to other people's experiences, because that's what it's all about and that's what it should be about. When us as white people deny privilege, we're not staying neutral. There's no fence sitting on it. We're just reinforcing the same system that directly benefits us in everyday existence. And again, when you say stuff like, well, that doesn't affect me, you're confirming that it affects somebody else. And that matters. When you stay quiet because it's uncomfortable, you are actively choosing your own comfort over justice. And sometimes we need to be uncomfortable in order to learn and to do better. And be a little embarrassed sometimes. It's okay. Silence is violence. Period. If someone in your family makes a racist, joke, because let's face it, they're not jokes, and you say nothing. You're literally giving them permission, and you're giving it your stamp of approval on it. And again, that's complicity. You are complicit in racism. You are racist. And that's why it's on us. Every generation needs to continue these conversations and educate each other. And maybe even educate the older generation, because we all know how it was, and it's not okay. And it's good that we have the internet and things like that to talk about it. So that's where QTCinderella comes in. And I want to talk about her for a second. She had said some things about not fighting hate with hate. And that sounds right in a way. And we can say that some parts of that are true. But then she said she's still friends with people who are homophobic as long as they don't say it around her, or they don't do it around her. And that's where the harm lies. Because when you say just don't say it around me, you don't challenge the hate. You don't fight hate with love. You just hide it from yourself, so you don't have to be uncomfortable. That's not accountability. That's quite literally just convenience for yourself. Homophobia doesn't disappear when it's quiet. It just simply goes underground, in the background. And when you collab with a person, just because they're not doing it in front of you doesn't mean that they're not doing it, and you are complicit. It's just like what I said about racism. You are complicit in it, and you are homophobic. Just because you put up a boundary, oh, not in front of me, doesn't mean that you're doing anything to combat the hate or educate. And that's just simply not okay. When we tolerate it, as long as we don't hear it, we're not helping. Staying neutral. It's not neutrality. It's not being an ally. It's moral laziness. Because hate that's allowed to survive in silence or not around you is still hate. And it still harms people. It's still harmful. I, as a queer person, came out in life, and I had to have some very serious talks with some people in my family. My grandmother, in particular, she was my best friend, and she was a very Christian woman, a very God-fearing woman. And I was very scared to come out to her, but she was very open and loving. And then one day we went out to breakfast, and she made a comment that, I don't agree with your lifestyle, but I love you anyway. I had to explain to her that that's not acceptance of me. That's just tolerance of me. Tolerance puts conditions on love. Tolerance says, I'll overlook who you are. And acceptance says, I love you because of who you are. That distinction really matters because it keeps people small. It asks them to shrink themselves to make others around them comfortable. And that's not love. That's erasure dressed up as compassion. That's the difference between making someone feel seen and making them feel like a problem that you have to put up with. If you're a white person, I want you to know that there is always work to be done on ourselves, on others, in communities, in your lives, in your family. It's not a trend. It's not a hashtag. It's real life. It's everyday. It's in your everyday existence. I encourage everyone to question the things that you consume online, the people that you follow, the music that you listen to, and when you mess up, because we all do, right? Everyone makes mistakes. Be open to correction. Now, I haven't watched QTCinderella's apology video. I don't feel the need to, because the apology isn't meant for me necessarily, even as a queer person. But I do hope that she meant it, and I hope she is actually open to learning and reworking the way that she thinks, and know that she was right on some things, but very much wrong on others. And I think the way that she came about it was very wrong. Or the way that she said it wasn't okay. And the things that she said wasn't quite right, but she was almost on the mark, so we do have to give her credit for that. Acknowledging your privilege isn't an attack on your character. It's proof that you're growing one. You're growing in conscience. You're growing as a person. Privilege is inherited. It's literally the color of your skin. But compassion, that's a choice. The internet right now feels like a war zone. Rage bait, echo chambers, people yelling instead of listening. And I get it. It's just like, it's exhausting. It's exhausting for me. It's exhausting for viewers. It's everyone shouting and nobody truly listening. People are post for outrage, not understanding. And I say this a lot on my stream, that it's hard to grow if you're not controversial, if you don't have some kind of rage baity take or whatever, because that's what people want to see. People want the drama, and why can't we be good people and attract other good people into our communities? That's my question. Why do we have to spread hate? Why are there snark pages? Why can't we just criticize and critique? Yes, but with love and compassion and education. Real change doesn't come from screaming or getting defensive or leaving hate comments. It comes from conversations. Uncomfortable, awkward, and human conversations. I'm still learning. I still want to learn. I'm still trying to understand and listen, and I still get things wrong sometimes, but I'm always willing to learn and do better. And this is one of my favorite things to learn about, is the lived human experience from everybody, and how I can be a better ally, and how I can educate other people, and how I can do better as a white person to educate other white people. Because growing up, I didn't learn about that. I'm not saying that my family is like racist or has ever had any racist ideology or anything like that, but I had never had my white privilege explained to me until I was in college. And it led to someone very close to me in my direct family not understanding our white privilege. And when I tried to have a discussion with them about it, they got very defensive and they refused to listen and acknowledge it. And they didn't see it the way that it truly is. They saw it as, well, we grew up poor and I get weird looks and because of how I dress. And the difference is, you can change how you dress, but you can't change the color of your skin. And needless to say, we no longer speak. Growth doesn't come from being perfect, and me and this family member don't speak because of that conversation that happened years ago. It was just many things piling up onto it. So I can see where QTCinderella doesn't want to cut off her family, whatever, but at some point you have to draw a line in the sand where you're now associating with that person. I understand it's hard with family, but we have to be willing to continue these conversations and to continue to show up and repeat it over and over and over and over and over if we still want that person in our lives. It's showing up and trying again and again and again and again, and not saying, just don't do it around me. If you've made it this far, thank you so much. If something I said made you angry and you feel the need to leave a hateful comment, I'd ask you to just pause real quick, take a breath, and maybe reflect on what made you feel like leaving that comment or writing out that comment, and write that out instead. Write out why you felt the need to say what you wanted to say, because that's very interesting to me. I always want to know why somebody has the first instinct to say something hateful. So I just ask you to do that instead. Reflection is truly where growth starts. So if you can tell me why you felt the sudden urge to say what you wanted to say, I feel like you have a better chance to reflect on that and start small. And that can lead to talking to your family, calling out your friends, and listening to stories that make you uncomfortable. And for the love of sweet baby Jesus, please stop giving passes to people just because they're nice to you, or just because you like their content, or just because they're a big streamer. They don't care about you. Why do you give them a pass, even if you're hurt by what they said? Can we also stop with the rage bait and the collabing with problematic people for views and clicks, and trying to further our own career by using very problematic people? I really wish the internet would stop that, and we would stop giving platform to people that have horrible views. But I know that's never going to happen, unfortunately. Anyways, you can't fight hate with hate. That's true. But you also can't fight hate with silence. So use your privilege, use your voice. Stop saying, that's not my problem, because if you're white, it is. That's your white privilege. it's your problem by default. If you have any resources on this topic that you would like to share, please comment them down below. I will try to link as many as I can, and some of the books that I read in college. If I can find them or remember them, I'll link them. Let's make the comment section a space for learning and not tearing each other apart. Let's have an open and honest human dialogue without hate, because that's what these conversations need the most. Again, if you made it this far, thank you so much for listening. Thank you for watching. I love you so much. I hope you're having a great day or night, wherever the fuck you're at in the world. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. Make good choices. Be nice, be kind, be gentle, and maybe read a fucking book. It might help you out. Or enroll in a sociology class. They're only a couple $100. They might just change how you see the world. Or better yet, who you choose to be in it. Okay, bye.